I mean, what can you say? The conspiracy theories of last year have become the
headlines of today.
Viva Frei, Montreal litigator turned YouTuber, and this is Winnie the Westie, and you're going to want to stick around to the end of this vlog to catch the supercut at the end. But what can you say? We are literally living in a world where the conspiracy theories of 2 years ago have become the headlines of today. I have been on the internet long enough to remember a time where you could not even say coronavirus without a video getting flagged and demonetized by YouTube. It became the gag on the channel where we referred to it as the My Coronavirus. I remember a day where if you dare to suggest that the origins of COVID were not necessarily natural, might have originated in a lab in China, you were yeeted off the internet.
I think that's how you use the word yeeted.
And lo and behold, what would literally have gotten you yeeted from the social medias 2 years ago is now mainstream headline news. It's coming out of the mouth of the President of the United States himself. But like I always say, don't take my word for it, trust but verify. So let's just visit one of those former conspiracy theories turned reality, shall we?
Won't somebody please think of the children?
COVID origin. Why the Wuhan lab leak theory is being taken seriously. 27 May 2021. Now first, just to open what I hope is going to be the only parentheses of this vlog, I recently did a vlog breaking down 2 separate articles coming from the same medical journal, one from 2020, wherein they referred to the idea of a lab leak man-made virus theory as conspiracy theory, and then a year and a half later, as though they said nothing a year and a half earlier, they referred to it as a perfectly plausible line of questioning. Now I have been living on the internet for long enough to remember a time when if you even alluded to the idea that coronavirus was a man-made virus that originated in a lab in Wuhan, China, you could have been kicked off social media platforms.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
It was verboten, it was conspiracy theory, some even said it was racist. Apurva Mandavili, at Apurva_NYC. Someday we will stop talking about the lab leak theory and maybe even admit its racist roots. But alas, that day is not yet here. May 26, 2021. And what did The Lancet publish back in February 2020? Statement in support of the scientists, public health professionals, and medical professionals of China combating COVID-19. The rapid, open, and transparent sharing of data on this outbreak is now being threatened by rumors and misinformation around its origins. We stand together to strongly condemn conspiracy theories suggesting that COVID-19 does not have a natural origin.
To be clear, the lab leak theory was and remains a perfectly legitimate line of inquiry.
In real time, the same medical journal saying both A is a conspiracy theory and a year and a half later A is a perfectly plausible theory. I tell you, this is the definition of gaslighting, and we've got another tub of gas to add to the fire today. But first, back to this article which documents how the conspiracy theory became mainstream theory because it segues perfectly into this latest iteration of gaslighting. Nearly a year and a half since COVID-19 was detected in the Chinese city of Wuhan, the question of how the virus first emerged remains a mystery. But in recent weeks, the controversial claim that the pandemic might have leaked from a Chinese laboratory, once dismissed by many as a fringe conspiracy theory, has been gaining traction. Now, US President Joe Biden has announced an urgent investigation that will look into the theory as a possible origin of the disease. That iteration of the conspiracy theory turned mainstream media headline literal investigation being suggested by the President of the United States relates to the alleged potential origin of the virus. But for those of you who have been around on the interwebs for as long as I have, there was once upon a time this other alleged conspiracy theory regarding the potentially inflated numbers as relates to COVID-19 hospitalizations and deaths.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
And here's just one headline as an example. KHN, how COVID death counts become the stuff of conspiracy theories. In the waning days of the campaign, President Donald Trump complained repeatedly about how the United States tracks the number of people who have died from COVID-19, claiming, quote, this country and its reporting systems are just not doing it right, end quote. He went on to blame those reporting systems for inflating the number of deaths, pointing a finger at medical professionals who he said benefit financially. Second parentheses, hopefully the last one of the vlog. Disclaimer to the YouTube overlords, I am not making any positive statements here. I am not making any affirmations. I am not confirming statements that I am not in a position to confirm. I am just saying that as of recently, some high-profile, prominent doctors have said some things that might now lend some credibility to what was called conspiracy theory in 2020.
Is that if you look at the children who are hospitalized, many of them are hospitalized with COVID as opposed to because of COVID.
From USA Today, fact check. CDC is not inflating the COVID-19 death count. February 16, 2021. The claim: the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention inflated COVID-19 deaths by more than 1,600%. As the U.S. approaches a dark milestone in the COVID-19 pandemic, conspiracy theories about the counting of deaths from the coronavirus are re-emerging. An October report that claims the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is exaggerating the death count from the virus, now at more than 485,000 by a factor of more than 16, got new traction on several websites in February. But don't worry, we now know that the fact checkers have already debunked this claim. The fact checkers, which we now know from the Facebook lawsuit, are in fact nothing more than an opinion. Fact checks already have debunked claims that the CDC was exaggerating death statistics after it released new data last summer on comorbidity, defined by the CDC as the existence of more than one disease or condition in a person at the same time. The CDC's data on comorbidity at the time was incorrectly interpreted by those who claimed it showed COVID-19 was not the cause of death in the 94% of cases in which more than one cause also was listed. Alright, so that is the claim. Digest it how you will, although it is really interesting to be living in a world where just changing the terms can actually radically alter the statistics. But we're not here to talk about comorbidities, we're here to talk about something else, and the next paragraph is the segue into it. Experts, including Dr. Fauci and the World Health Organization, have said that COVID-19 deaths likely are undercounted. Our rating: false. The claim that the CDC inflated COVID-19 deaths by more than 1,600% is false, based on research. What a caveat, based on research. Previous fact checks have debunked a claim that the CDC was exaggerating death statistics after it released new data about comorbidity in 2020. The report, cited by several online outlets, has several links to the anti-vaccine movement, and the publication that printed it did not show up in rankings of journals. Well, that is one heck of a self-serving and circular way of establishing the credibility of authorities, to say, have they been ranked in our own sort of search engines, and if not, we're going to disregard them? Whatever. That's not the issue for this vlog. I want to go back to what Dr. Fauci said about the deaths from COVID-19 likely being undercounted.
Experts, including Dr. Fauci and the World Health Organization, have said that COVID-19 deaths likely are undercounted.
So it's overcounting the number of children who are, quote, hospitalized with COVID as opposed to because of COVID.
Now, I want to highlight the critical distinction between the supercut you are going to watch at the end of this vlog and what Dr. Fauci said in this article about deaths likely being undercounted. The supercut that you're about to hear, it is 3 medical professionals, including Dr. Fauci, saying that hospitalizations are likely being overcounted for the reasons said in the supercut, whereas Dr. Fauci here is talking about deaths being undercounted. There is a difference between counting deaths and counting hospitalizations. But once you hear the reasons that these medical professionals are now questioning whether or not the hospitalizations are being overcounted, the exact same reasoning applies to deaths that were or potentially attributed to COVID-19. Once upon a time, people were suggesting that hospitalizations were being overcounted for financial reasons because hospitals were getting subsidies to treat COVID-19 patients. Once upon a time, people were suggesting that maybe deaths and hospitalizations were being inflated for political purposes. They were called conspiracy theories. Well, it seems that the narrative is quite literally changing in real time,
right before our eyes yet again.
Back in the olden days of the conspiracy theories, we used to hear anecdotal evidence, stories of people allegedly dying in car accidents who were counted as COVID deaths, and anybody who repeated those stories was laughed out of the room as being a conspiracy theorist, laughed out of the room as being an idiot who believes whatever he or she reads on the internet. Wait until you hear now what the doctors are in fact confirming are being counted as hospitalizations with COVID. The medical experts and politicians are literally confirming in real time that, hitherto we have been conflating hospitalized with COVID versus hospitalized because of COVID, and we now, 2 years into the freaking pandemic, have to make that distinction. My goodness, when doctors are making this statement now, you have to question if these doctors have lost their mind or if they ever had a mind in the first place. Any doctor or politician who 2 years into this pandemic is now saying, you know what, it might be a good idea to distinguish hospitalized with COVID versus hospitalized because of COVID, anyone saying that now has to have their license revoked, and any politician saying that now has to be voted the heck out of office for good. But lo and behold, that is exactly what we are seeing from Dr. Fauci in the United States to that guy in Ontario who looks like Lenin. I don't know why he makes himself look like Lenin so much, but my goodness, it's scary. To Hochul in New York, and here is the supercut of supercuts. In real time, the medical and political elite literally changing the narrative. They are now saying, yes, this is a problem, and one day they're going to say, yes, we always said this was a problem, and if you say that we said it wasn't a problem, you're the crazy person.
You're the conspiracy theorist.
I'm going to put the highlight of this supercut on Twitter so that people... All right, that is time to go for a hike now. I'm going to put the highlight of this supercut on Twitter for the world to see, but share this video. And with that said, if you like my videos, you like my content, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and drop a comment in the comment section below. I think I'm being summoned quite quickly. If you want to support the channel, all of the support links are in the pinned comment. We've got some new merch. No, the Vlawg. Robert Barnes and I do weekly streams every Sunday. We do weekly streams with a guest every Wednesday. You can also find us and support us on Locals, where supporters get lots of exclusive content. That is at
VivaBarnesLaw.locals.com.
All of my content is also on Rumble, which has recently merged with Locals and is going public sooner than later, and you can actually find a direct link to our Locals community via my Rumble page. I'll show you a graphic right now so you know where to find it. But more important than anything, take care of yourselves, check in on friends and family, make sure everyone around you is doing well, get outside, get some sunlight, and get some exercise. And now you know your vlog. Peace out. Booyah!
But the other important thing is that if you look at the children who are hospitalized, many of them are hospitalized with COVID as opposed to because of COVID.
Many individuals have noted the importance of distinguishing between patients admitted to hospital or the ICU for COVID-19 versus those admitted for other reasons, such as a broken bone or appendicitis, but also test positive for COVID-19.
When we're looking at the hospitalizations of people testing positive in a hospital, is that person in the hospital because of COVID, or did they show up there and are routinely tested and showing positive, and they may have been asymptomatic or even just had the sniffles?
And what we mean by that, if a child goes in the hospital, they automatically get tested for COVID, and they get counted as a COVID hospitalized individual, when in fact they may go in for a broken leg or appendicitis.
Someone is in a car accident, they go to the emergency room, they test positive for COVID while they're there. They're not there being treated for COVID.
As a result, we have asked hospitals to update their daily reporting to include this important information.
How many people are being hospitalized because of COVID symptoms? How many people happen to be testing positive just while they're in there for other treatment? I'm anticipating to see that at least a certain percentage overall are not related to being treated for COVID.
And expect to begin receiving it, as well as adjusting our public reporting in the coming days.
So it's overcounting the number of children who are, quote, hospitalized with COVID as opposed to because of COVID.